Welcome to the first edition of Curati on Air. Today's special guest is John Paul Aguiar. Hello and welcome everybody to Curati on Air. I'm Cheryl Tan, your host, and I'm thrilled to introduce you today to our special guest, John Paul Aguiar. John Paul, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, we are also joined by Andy Kapeloff, the COO of Curati. Happy New Year and happy to see you as well, Andy.
New Year. Happy to see you and you, John.
Excited to talk with you, John Paul, about all that you've been through and what you are creating right now. So let's just kind of get a little bit of background, your backstory, if you will, and then get to what you're doing right now to help bloggers and entrepreneurs with their blog marketing, their Twitter marketing, and their social media. It's a whole lot of stuff online. But how did you get to this point, first and foremost?
Yeah, a few years ago, like 2002, maybe earlier than that, I had a kidney transplant. So I couldn't do a 9-to-5 job. So I came online to see if I can make money online where I had a little more freedom. So on the days that I don't feel good, I don't have to work. Do you know what I mean? And the days I feel good, I can go online and do stuff. So I initially started with multi-level marketing and eBay selling, and I did pretty well with that. And I was able, at the time I was getting disability check, and I was able to make enough to get off of that check. Because I was having success, I decided, you know what, I'm going to share what I'm doing with people, and I'm going to start a blog to share kind of how I'm making money online. And that's where my blog, johnpaulaguiar.com, started. And then using the blog, when I started the blog, I didn't know anything about blogging or getting traffic or any of stuff like that. And around that time, that's when Twitter was getting popular. People were talking about how great Twitter was. So I started using Twitter pretty heavily because at the time I was making enough money to pay my bills, but I didn't have money to for marketing or promotion or buy courses. So I just downloaded all the free PDFs and courses I could get from people, and then took that, applied some of it to Twitter, and then over about a year, just learned how to use Twitter correctly. And then within that year, Twitter became my number one traffic source. And I was going from 10 or 20 retweets on a post to 50 to 150. So things were working really well. And within a year, I probably had about 50,000 followers. By 2 years, I had over 100,000 followers. So that's kind of how I got started and got started using Twitter.
I loved a lot of what you said, definitely, because I think a lot of people can resonate with that. They want the freedom that an online life can bring. And I'm sorry about all of your medical challenges, but you've been able to turn your knowledge into something that makes money. So in the beginning, you said you were able to make a little bit and you were able to create some sort of income. How was that in the beginning? What did you do in the early stages, even before Twitter got big for you? What were the things that you did to make money online?
eBay selling and multi-level marketing were the two main things. And I did some affiliate marketing also, but those are the three main things that I did well with. eBay selling, I did really well. Affiliate marketing, I did well right away. Multi-level marketing took me probably about a year before I finally was doing well, but then I was doing pretty well with that. So those are the three main things that got me online and what I was making income with before I jumped to a blog.
Gotcha. And this was maybe using your social channels to promote links that were able to give you a little bit of income on the side. Is that sort of how it works?
Well, back then, yeah. Back when MySpace was popular, I had about 50 MySpace pages promoting my multi-level marketing company because MySpace was huge. So I was using social media back before it was called social media. I was on a site called Mahente.com, all of those. And those were like the social media platforms back in the day. So yeah, social media has been big for me since, like I said, the early days of MySpace.
Yeah.
And then that just applied to now. Then that moved me to Twitter and then to Facebook and all the platforms we have now.
Things have changed, haven't they? That's an understatement, isn't it?
Right.
So you mentioned Twitter and how in the beginning you were using it differently than you are right now. And I really feel that a lot of people don't understand Twitter so much, which I think you see on a daily basis how really they don't know how to use Twitter. So can you talk to us a little bit about the basics of doing things right on this social media platform?
Right. With Twitter, the one thing you need to know about Twitter is the only platform that I can put you on today and you'll be getting traffic within 2 or 3 days. There's no other platform. You're not going to do it on Facebook without spending money. You're not going to do that on Google Plus. You're not going to do that anywhere else. Twitter, you can actively follow people. And like you said, I've seen people over the years that are struggling. I know friendships that I've built for 5 years, and they're still tweeting to the same 1,000 people, followers that they had 5 years ago, which is a complete waste, because if they didn't listen then, they didn't listen 2 years ago, they're definitely not listening today. So you're talking to nobody. So it's such a waste of a great platform, because if you take some time to follow targeted people and you take time to share quality stuff at the right times of day, so you're not spending 8 hours a day on Twitter because you don't need to, you can have good success with Twitter. And people just don't get that. They don't realize that you don't want to be there for 8 hours just chit-chatting, because at the end of the day, we're not all here to make friends. We're here to make friends, but there's a purpose. We're all here to promote something. At the end of the day, those friendships have to pay off, whether it's traffic, whether it's they start retweeting you, or you collaborate on something, but those friendships have to pay off. You can't just chit-chat on Twitter all day and then you wonder why it doesn't work, because you're just busy. You're not really active. You're just busy being busy and talking to people. And that's a big problem a lot of people have. I see a lot of bloggers that they're on Twitter all day, but there's no goal. They have no purpose. They're just connecting with people and chit-chatting. And yes, that's great, but at the end of the day, that's not going to do nothing for your business or your blog.
You've said a lot of things, I think, that will hurt a blogger's heart because they're going to say, oh, I'm on Twitter a lot and look at how many followers I have and look how many retweets and all of that. And it doesn't really translate into something that you can take to the bank or pay your mortgage with. Right. I know, Andy, that a lot of your bloggers that are on Curati, they use Twitter. You use Twitter. Curati uses Twitter a lot. So what are your thoughts on this social media platform and how it can expand reach for people?
Well, it's really, Jan is the one who has the Twitter following. So I'm not even going to talk about mine, because mine is very, very small and I don't go to great efforts to grow it. I'm actually more interested in organically gaining quality rather than numbers. But maybe this conversation will change my mind. Curati itself, Twitter has been used to really grow some amazing relationships, collaborations, get to know some people. It is how more people come to us through LinkedIn now, actually. But Twitter initially was almost our sole source of incoming traffic to Curati. They found it through Jan's Twitter.
Gotcha. So John Paul, you were speaking to us, right? So you're speaking to people who were making relationships, but maybe we're not getting to that next piece, perhaps. So right. What do you say then? What is your system then to help people who understand that Twitter is a great platform, but how to really maximize its power?
First, you have to look at followers differently. Like Andy said, they're not chasing numbers, but the reality is, if you chase targeted followers, the numbers you're not chasing. When I grow to 100,000, I don't care that I have 100,000 followers. That means nothing to me. I know that those are targeted followers. That's what I care about. So I would be happy with 10,000 targeted followers than 100,000 untargeted. So the number means nothing, and that should be like a small bonus to the work you're doing. But if you put yourself in front of, 500 new people every day or every week on Twitter, targeted people, then yes, the side bonus is your following numbers are going to grow. But the reality is you're not doing it for that. You're doing it to put yourself in front of new people every day. So if you're doing that now and you're doing nothing, you have the same 1,000 followers for 5 years. Now, if you start deciding I'm going to start following targeted people and you're getting 500 new people a week to your following, that's now 500 new targeted people seeing what you share on Twitter, seeing your blog link on your profile. That's huge. Now, the numbers don't matter. That's a side bonus. So if you focus on that, just putting yourself in front of more people, then do that consistently, Twitter will do really well for you, because now you got new people every week. Where else are you going to do that for free? Where else are you going to get 500 new people targeted that care about what you do and looking at your stuff for free? There's no way. You try doing that on Facebook, you have to spend $100 a day just to do that. There's no way. Twitter, you can do that every day, every week, if you do that. And then if you bring the new followers and then you share correctly, learn how to share targeted content throughout the day that's scheduled. Scheduling is fine, people don't care how the tweets get to Twitter. All they care about is that you're active around when those tweets go out. So if I schedule a tweet for 5 o'clock, people don't care that I scheduled that tweet. They don't care how it got to Twitter. They care that is John around 5 o'clock. So if that tweet comes out at 5, is John there to answer my question or reply to a comment I make? That's what they care about. So if you use scheduling to save a lot of time, be more targeted. Like for me, I only tweet 10 to 15 links a day. That's it. Most people tweet 50, 60 a day. I've been on big lists for social media for Twitter, and I only tweet 10 to 15 links a day. That's all. But yet, if you ask people, they would think John's tweeting 100 times a day because he's always there. Because you want to look like you're there, but you want to physically be on Twitter 8 hours a day. But you can make yourself look like you are and have the activity of 8 hours, but in reality, you popped in maybe an hour total throughout the day, but yet your activity on Twitter is filled up 8 hours of your day. And that's what you want to do. Learn how to tweet correctly and more efficiently, and tweet targeted stuff. So if you're a blogger, then tweet blogging stuff. Mainly tweet stuff that's related to blogging, related to social media, things that are related, that people that follow you for blogging information. You're going to make sure you give them blogging information, and then things that are softly targeted to that, like social media information, SEO, anything that's targeted to blogging also. So that's what you want to do. So you follow people every week, targeted people, and then you share the content that they want to see. That's how you'll build those relationships and drive traffic to your blog. Because if your tweets are good, they're going to be like, wow, John's helpful. I love his tweets. I'm going to go visit his blog. And once you do that and they're paying attention, once they're paying attention, then they pay attention and you become a resource. Every day they're going to come to my Twitter account because they're like, I want to see what John shared today. Did John put out a new blog post today? So every day, every week, they're going to come back to your Twitter profile because they know that you share great stuff and you become a resource for them. And that's what you want. And once you do that, that's when you'll drive a lot of traffic to your blog, because now people pay attention. So when you do a new blog post, they'll see it and they'll visit your blog to read it.
All right, John Paul, I think we might need to go back to basics a little bit. So let's go back to how we find those targeted followers, because I thought that if you follow somebody, they only see your things if they follow you back. Is that correct?
Well, people see your stuff regardless, but if they follow you back, then they pay attention more. But people can see your stuff on your stream regardless if they follow you. Unless you have your settings set to private, then nobody can see it unless they follow you. Okay. But if you have an open profile, anybody can see it. But the goal is to follow targeted people. Let's say, I don't know, once a week you follow 500 people. Your goal is to get 50% of those people to follow you back.
Oh, I see.
If they follow you back, you now have 250 new followers. If you do that every week, at the end of the month, you have 1,000 new followers paying attention to what you're tweeting.
Gotcha.
So if you do that month after month, by the end of the year, you now have, what is that, 1,000, 10,000 new followers in a year for free. Just, a couple hours a month of time. So that's what you want. So you find people that are targeted towards you. So if you're a blogger, find other bloggers, mommy bloggers, fashion bloggers, whatever it is, and get them to see your stream. And if your stream is filled with blogging stuff, then those people will follow you because you share stuff that they care about.
And then, so let's say you do your homework and you find 500 mommy bloggers to follow every week or however many. And then you have the system, I know that you call it the chunky system, right? Where you are, great name, by the way, where you create chunks of time to post your things. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's something I've actually never heard before. I mean, the targeting I'd heard of, but now I understand that once you create that relationship, you really want them to see some things, some targeted things at certain times of the day.
Right. So for the chunky system is basically because I share in chunks. So let's say I usually start my tweeting in the morning at 9 o'clock. So each chunk is 4 tweets. So it'll be 3 tweets of somebody else's stuff. And the last tweet will be my stuff, whether it's a blog post, video, PDF, whatever I want, that's mine, my content that drives them to hopefully my blog or my YouTube page or whatever. So the first tweet will be somebody else's tweet. I'll tweet another blogger or maybe a bigger website, whatever it is that's targeted to what I'm on Twitter for. So at 9 o'clock, the first tweet goes up. And I let my tweets work because the reality is most of my retweets when I tweet something come after 10 minutes. They come from the 10 to 20, 25 minute range. So if I was to tweet every 5 minutes, each tweet wouldn't have time to do work for me because when my tweets, I get the retweets at 10, 20 minutes. If I retweeted at every 5 minutes, that first tweet wouldn't have time to do work for me. So I tweet, so the first chunk would be 9 a.m. So the second tweet would go at 9:35 or 9:30. And then third tweet would go out at 10 o'clock. And then the fourth tweet, which would be mine, would go out at 11:05 and 11 o'clock. So now you got from 9 a.m. to about 11, you got about almost 2.5 hours of content. So once that's scheduled, I use Hootsuite to schedule it. Once that's scheduled, each tweet has 30 minutes to do work for you and get attention. Whether it's yours or somebody else, it doesn't matter. And then that gives you, so by 11 o'clock gives you, let's say, 2.5 hours of content. Now, while that's going out, you know you have a tweet going out scheduled, so you don't have to worry about it knowing you have it all scheduled. Now you can just pop in through your phone or on the computer and say, all right, I had a tweet going out at 9. I'm going to pop into Twitter, see if anybody replied, ask me a question, left a comment, did they retweet me? I'm going to thank them. So that takes, what, a couple minutes. So if I do that for 4, let's say 5 minutes, that's 20 minutes of time. But yeah, I had 2.5 hours of activity going out. I physically only went on Twitter for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I'm doing other things. So once that chunk is done, then that last tweet, I usually don't do another chunk for about an hour and a half. Now, you end each chunk with your content, because now when you leave, say my chunk goes out in the morning, I'm going to leave for a couple hours, say I have stuff to do. When people come to my stream, the first thing they see is my tweet, my content, my blog post, because that's the last thing I tweeted in that chunk. Now, if you combine that with adding people that we talked about, following people, so if you follow, every time you follow, you now have, let's say, 300 new people a day coming to your stream. And then if you use the system correctly, they now will see that tweet that belongs to you, the first thing they see on your stream. That gives you a huge chance that they're going to see it, they're going to read it, they're going to follow and visit your blog. So if you do both correctly, the following and the sharing, that's how you drive a lot of traffic. So that's a chunk. So you can do as many. I do like 3 or 4 a day when I do a chunk. So I'll do like a morning chunk, a late morning, early afternoon chunk, and then late evening, and then sometimes late at night around 10, 11, because Twitter's very active after 10 o'clock. So you do as many chunks as you can. So if you do, let's say 3 chunks, each of them is almost, let's say 2.5, 3 hours each. That's 6 hours of content throughout the day. And you pop into all those chunks, maybe an hour total. So you have 6 hours of content that went out and you're active on Twitter for 6 hours, but you physically only popped in here and there as a total of maybe an hour of the day. So that way your tweets are going out and they're doing work for you while you do other things, because there's a lot more other things to do to build a blog and a business. Twitter is important, social media is important, but there's 50 other things you should be doing. So if you jump into Twitter, be more efficient, stay active, but then have the free time to go do other things. And that's what you want. So you get the most of Twitter, but you're not sitting there all day wasting, 3-4 hours a day, 5 hours just chit-chatting with no goal, no purpose.
I like the system. I mean, it really is very systematized. But I mean, so if you're popping in on Twitter, you've scheduled your three or four chunks, right? So you've scheduled those 3 or 4 chunks, but those tweets. But the fourth tweet is something that you've created in the past.
My stuff.
So
like a blog,
something that's already been done. So that's
that sends them to your stuff,
right?
Preferably your blog, or it could be a page on your blog, as long as it's your stuff.
Right. How long did it take you to come up with this to where it works for you now, making you money or giving you more leads and traffic? How long did it take for you to come up with that?
Probably that first year when I went back to Twitter, because when I first went to Twitter, I used it like 8 hours a day, and for about 3 weeks, I hated it.
Yeah,
it didn't work. So I left it for like 2 years. I didn't go back to Twitter for like 2 years. Then when I went back to Twitter and I started learning more stuff, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to test some stuff out. And that's when I started having success. So I've been using this exact system for about 8-9 years with some certain tweaks, but this is the exact system. I still tweet this day. If you go to my Twitter account, you'll see the exact same system. I did a chunk this morning because I had stuff to do in the afternoon. I did a chunk this morning. You'll see 3 tweets, and the 4th tweet will be one of my old blog posts. So I use it because it works. And it works whether it's the old stuff or if you have a new blog post. The only difference on, let's say, blog post day is so if I do 3 chunks a day, instead of finding random stuff for those 3 chunks, each one will end with my new blog post. So then my new blog post will go out 3 times that day, giving you the best chance. So you're catching people in the morning, they're going on Twitter in the morning, in the afternoon, lunchtime, dinner, whatever it is. So then that blog post gets shared 3 times, so giving you the best chance to get people to your new blog post. But other than that, the chunks work exactly the same on blog post day and non-blog post day.
Can you talk about how this new way of Twitter for you, I guess 8 or 9 years now, but how this new system for you, the chunky system, how has that impacted your blog and your business?
Pretty well, because I do pretty well. I make a living online. I'm not rich, but my bills are paid. I can do whatever I want. In the last 5 years, I've been on some big social media lists. I was number 6 on Forbes' most influential people in social media. And then a few weeks
Congratulations.
ago, thank you. A few weeks ago, I was on another list that was done by BuzzSumo. I was number 2 in the top influential people in marketing for 2016.
Wow.
And another one after that, I was number 19. So I've been on a lot of big lists, and my clout score has been 79 for years. So, and all this is done, again, sharing 10 to 15 times a day. That's it. I don't tweet on Sundays because that's my day off. The only time I'll tweet a picture because I like taking photography. I may tweet a picture or reply to people, but I don't tweet links on Sunday. Saturday, it's probably like a half day. Even during the week, I'm usually done by 8. Like in the beginning, I was on Twitter morning, noon, night, on social media morning, noon, and night. And it got to the point where it was too much. So I decided, I have to take time off or I'm going to go crazy, because social media is intense if you spend a lot of time there.
Right.
So I need to tweet half the week, half of a day, and only 10 to 15 tweets a day, and I'm still able to get on all those lists. Because if you tweet, there's people out there that tweet 60 links a day. Like, I don't care who you are. Nobody cares. I don't care if you're Gary Vaynerchuk. Nobody's going to look at 60 tweets a day, links a day. They don't care. People are busy. They're not going to care. And then the problem is you ruin each tweet, because now you're not giving each person's tweet time to work. So if I tweet your post at 9 a.m., I give it 30 minutes. That gives you 30 minutes to get attention for your blog post. Right. And that builds relationships, because now if I'm getting you tweets, you're going to be like, wow, I love John. I'm going to tweet all this stuff. Right? So that's relationships. So the better your tweets do when I share them, the better I look, the better you're going to help me share my stuff. So that helps you build relationships. So if you're tweeting all the time and I never get you any retweets, you're not going to care. Whether I have followers or not, you're not going to care, because I'm not getting you any attention. But if your tweets are now getting 1, 2, 3, 5 retweets, you're going to be very happy. You're going to love me. We're going to be best of friends. That builds the relationship. So the system works for many reasons. But the main reason is to free up your time. Because Twitter is very important. So is social media. But there's a lot of things you should be doing besides Twitter to grow a new blog or an existing blog or a business online. There's so much you need to do that people don't understand in the back end. They see the front end. Oh, blog post does so well. Traffic comes to the blog. But you don't see all the work in the back end. And that's the work you need to do, and not be on Twitter all day. Like, I love Twitter. I definitely should use it. But you need to know how to go in, do what you got to do, and get out and be more efficient. And have a plan. Have a goal. Why are you on Twitter? Is it to get people to opt in your email list? Is it to drive traffic to your blog or website or whatever? Have an idea of why you're there.
I think everyone's breathing a sigh of relief that we're not going to spend 8 hours on Twitter a day anymore, right? No more. Say no.
No.
Andy, what are your thoughts on this? Yeah.
They need to.
Well, I hear all of this about the first 3 tweets in each chunk, and I find that interesting. Obviously, it's really important to end with your own one and give it more time. And I love that whole chunky system. It's not what other people have been telling us about, as you say, John, just constant.
Yeah, they're all dummies. Don't listen to them.
And the idea that doing one every half an hour or so when you're doing them gives the people who you are retweeting more activity, and therefore brings more goodwill to you, I think is really, really good. I like that a lot.
And it takes up time. So say if I'm one of the people that tweet every 10 minutes, so in 2 hours, I have to now go find things, because you have to find quality stuff to share. Now, that takes time. So now if you're tweeting, let's say 40 times, that means 40 times in the day you have to go find somebody's blog post, tweet it, make sure you read it, make sure it's quality, because if you share crap that's somebody else's, you're going to look bad, because people don't care on Twitter. If you share it, it's yours. Whether you wrote it or not, if it's a bad piece, you're the one that looks bad because you shared it and you should know better. So that takes time to find quality content. So if I'm trying to do that 40 times a day, there's another 2 hours right there. So doing it in chunks and giving each tweet time, 30 to 40 minutes to work, I only have to find 3 things in the morning. That's one chunk. That doesn't take me long at all, instead of trying to find 10 to 15 things to tweet. So it's that part of it saves you time too, because it takes time. Even if you have lists and you have all these people you love, you want to make sure you pick, because if you're not going to share 3 video tweets in a row, so you still got to order. I found a blog tips post. I found a Facebook tips post. So you still got to mix it up. That still takes time. Even if you're using Twitter lists and you have a list of quality people you like, it still takes time to mix things up, so you're not sharing the same thing over and over again.
So John Paul, do you retweet some of the same posts from other people at different times of the day?
No, if I tweet you, it's one and done. I don't do the tit for tat. I want you, if you tweet me, it's because you want to. Don't do it because you want me to tweet you, because it ain't going to happen. I tweet pretty much everybody, but I don't like you did me 5 times, I owe you 5 tweets. That's not going to happen because I think that's silly. If you're going to tweet me, it's because you like my stuff. I tweet you because I like your stuff. Also because we may have a friendship, and I'm helping you because you help me, because it's a give and take. You ain't going to go anywhere on Twitter without giving a lot in the beginning. Sure. And even I've been here 10 years and I do very well. I still give a lot. Like my chunky system, out of 4 tweets, 3 of them are other people's stuff. Only 1 is mine. So you're always giving. But if I tweet you once, unless you specifically came to me and said, hey, John, I put this together, it's really important to me, do you mind tweeting it a couple times? Then if we have a friendship, I would do that for you. But normally, I tweet you once that day. I may tweet you again 3 days later or something, another post, but usually it's one and done. Okay. And that's, you tweet the same people. You want to mix it up, so the more people you tweet, the more chance those people come back and retweet you. So you want to mix it up and have a big list of people you share, because the more you share, then the more is going to come back to you at some point. So.
Right. It's a great attitude, and you've given a lot of value to us. John Paul, thank you so very much for your time. How can people find out more about your junkie system or reach out to you and learn how to get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Mainly at Twitter at John Aguiar, and my blog at johnpaulaguiar.com. And then all the new stuff will be coming out. So if they follow me there and on the blog and get on the email list, they'll get all the new content that's coming out, and the videos coming out starting tomorrow.
Okay. Look for that 4th tweet, right? Look for that 4th tweet.
Yes.
John, thank you so much for your time. Andy, as always, a pleasure to have you here for Curati on Air. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.
We hope you found today's Curati on Air interview informative and entertaining. Look for new articles and video conversations with influencers and emerging leaders at Curati.com. Thanks for joining us.